What do you think it is?
We are grateful and thankful that Sean and Blackwater are joining us for a second time. It was so fun this summer. They were on our front lawn, and I know that many of you were here. And
we weren't invited, but we were just on front lawn.
And they brought instruments, and it was fantastic. The whole neighborhood enjoyed the concert. We're going to enjoy today's concert. Just a little orientation. If anyone has questions, just out this door. Questions on the right-hand side. Afterwards, we're going to have a little bit of a reception next door. Coffee, tea, and some extra calories next door. Come on over, have a cup of coffee, sit down at the table, and have a rocking time. So, Sean, Blackwater, thank you.
Thank you very much for having us back. We're very happy to be here. So either all of you have your Christmas shopping done already, or else you were kicked out of the house because somebody else had to get the stuff home. One or the other. You need a good reason to get out 2 weeks before Christmas, or 2.5 weeks before Christmas. So we're very happy to be back again. I'm going to sing you a few songs, and some tunes, and a few other things. We're going to start off with it's a lovely song by Emily Smith called The Winter Song. It just kind of talks about the winter season, which is kind of central to the Celtic mythology. There's a whole mythology in Celtic mysticism built around the dark winters. And so when the sun goes down at 3:30 in the afternoon, it doesn't come up until 10 o'clock the next morning, you kind of get used to the dark in the wintertime. So this is a beautiful song that talks about the closing down of the season. Leaves are falling, falling from the trees. Farewell for now, ye warm summer breeze. Winter has been good this year. lights are jogging in the shoulder days. I hear the old folk and the country people say, don't fear the dark, nature has it all in hand. Time to reflect and renew a tired plan. So we'll stop the fire and light the land. Turn our backs from the town. Settle down beneath the starry sky. Endure the winter passing by. See the frost etched upon the glass. Morning sun, he soon moves fast. But he'll be back to clean the frozen ground. Each clear day, he surely will be found. If he's flying south to find the warmer road, away we go. These soldiers on the wall. Children's laughter echoes in the air. Sparks fly by, they catch them if they dare. So we'll stop the fire and light the land. Turn our backs from the land. Settle down beneath the starry sky. Endure the winter passing by. With carol song, the trees were taken down. We passed a dram, and the bells no longer sound. Snowdrops rise with promise of the spring. There's talk and wonder of what the year might bring. The blackbird starts to thicken on her nest. But the early man, he takes a snowy step. The north wind's grip, it twins from his chill. Holds the buds closed against their will. So we'll stop the fire and light the land. Turn our backs from the town. Settle down beneath the starry sky. Endure the winter passing by. So we'll stop the fire and light the land. Turn our backs from the town. Settle down beneath the starry sky. Endure the winter passing by. Thanks very much. It's good to see you have good taste. That's very nice. Bodes well for the rest of the afternoon. So we're going to, that's a fairly new song. We're going to go all the way back to the 15th century for this next one. And it's called the Boar's Head Carol. And we're going to attach that with a tune called The Reel of St. Joseph. And the Boar's Head is it's an old carol, I said, from the 15th century, which kind of talks about the old tradition of sacrificing a boar and presenting it to at the Yuletide feast with the Lord of the Manor. And the winter solstice. That's a big apple in his mouth, that's right. That's where we get the Christmas ham from. We're in Ireland. So in Ireland, the Christmas ham is a big thing, I suppose. But I guess turkey here in the United States. So the Christmas ham is big, but as most things are, it's all mixed up in Christianity and in mythology and Celtic mysticism. I mean, there's all things about the god of Freyr in here, and the Norse god Freyr and Saint Bridget. It all kind of comes together in some of these myths and stories. And this one is, the Christians kind of took all of that mythology and bundled it all together into these Christmas stories, and into same thing with Halloween. They all come from these Celtic roots of these old pagan rituals and so forth. So, that's how we get St. Stephen's Day as well. St. Stephen's Day is an old pagan festival. We'll get into that one a little bit down the road. But this is one called the Boar's Head Carol, and we sing a little Latin here, Caput apre defero, which means essentially the head I offer to you, and it redens laudes Domino, giving praise to the Lord. So here's the head of a boar. Thank you, God. So I think that's about all we want to say on this one. There will be a test at the end. So here we go. It's a great song called Long, Long Ago. There's a refrain on it. It's oddly that says, Long, long, long ago, Christ came to Bethlehem, long, long ago. By the time we get to the end, I expect to hear you all sing. So, let's do one more time. It goes, Long, long, long ago, Christ came to Bethlehem, long, long ago. We will stop playing and listen to you sing. So get ready. Fair warning. 1, 2, 3. Wind in the hollow trees, softly below. much the entire New Testament in one little song. So, call this the Reader's Digest version. But it's a great tune. It's been sung by a number of different Irish bands. It's called Down Among the Rushes of Jerusalem. And there is a little tag at the end of it, which at the end, which will ask you to sing as down among the rushes of Jerusalem, Jerusalem, down among the rushes of Jerusalem. I think you can handle that. Fair enough. Don't worry, it goes like 26. It is the New Testament, so it goes like 26 times. But by the end of it, come listen, gentle Christians, you Jew and Gentiles too, and all denominations, a song I'll sing to you. It's all about a young man, a rebel through and through, down among the bushes of Jerusalem, Jerusalem, down among the bushes of Jerusalem. Born of honest parents and below a shining star, the word went round the country and they came from near and far. The royal family worried he might undermine their power, down among the bushes of Jerusalem. They slaughtered all the children, everyone that they could find, just that they could be sure that they would kill that rebel child. But somehow he deceived them, all the soldiers fierce and wild, down among the bushes of Jerusalem, Jerusalem, down among the bushes of Jerusalem. He grew into a strapping lad and he helped around the home, but voices they kept calling and he was inclined to roam. The losers and the boozers he would count among his own, down among the bushes of Jerusalem. As far as I can see, you see the Pharisees did say, you know your Bible fairly well, you make a priest someday. But you better toe the line, me boy, or they'll be held to pay. Down among the bushes of Jerusalem, oh Jerusalem, down among the bushes of Jerusalem. Oh, look who's coming now, they said, a girl of no degree. Well, I'd rather have her near me now more than your hypocrisy, down among the bushes of Jerusalem. He went into the churches and he saw all the shiny gold. All the people there were starving of the hunger and the cold. He talked about injustice, just be careful, he was told, down among the bushes of Jerusalem, oh Jerusalem, down among the bushes of human heart unchanging, this young rebel he did say, down among the bushes of Jerusalem. Murdered him on Calvary, it's easier to see than to try and turn the other cheek and love my enemy. 'Cause we're loyal to our chrome crowd, to our scribes and Pharisees, down among the bushes of Jerusalem, Jerusalem, down among the bushes of Jerusalem, Jerusalem, down among the bushes of Jerusalem. This is our sound guy, so he's wondering about trying to make us sound better than we actually are. So.
Well, I apologize for that view of him at the curtain.
Yeah, sorry.
For you at home on the camera, sorry for the view. So. Right, so we're going to go to Scotland for our next song. And this comes from a little island on the west coast of Scotland. And it's another very old tune. This is called The Christ Child Lullaby. I'll ask Chris to start us off with a nice drone on the pipes. My love, my treasured one are you, my sweet and lovely son are you. You are my love, my darling new, unworthy I to bear you. Alleluia, 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 alleluia. Although you are the king of all, they set you to a manger stall. At your feet they all shall fall and glorify my child King. Alleluia, 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 alleluia. They gave you myrrh, they gave you gold, frankincense and gifts untold. They traveled far these gifts to bring and glorify His name. Alleluia, 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 alleluia. King of kings, most holy one, God the Son, eternal one. You are my God and my helpless Son, High ruler of mankind. Alleluia, 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 alleluia. All together now. Alleluia, oh alleluia, 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 alleluia. So if you didn't catch that, that was actually Mary singing a lullaby to baby Jesus. And, she's kind of the dichotomy of you're my little child, but you're also the king of the world. So it's a beautiful little tune. And the next one we're going to sing is another kind of Holy Family Christmas carol. But this one comes from the least heard of member of the trio. He's kind of the Ringo of the group. You never get to hear him. He's always in the background, but you never get to hear him. This one comes from the voice of Joseph. There's not that many carols that sing from Joseph's point of view. And this is actually a pretty funny one because it kind of shows them as a human family. This is before Jesus is born, and they're on their way to Jerusalem or to Bethlehem, and they're tired, and Mary's pregnant, and we all know the trouble and the weight she's carrying and the pain in her back, and she's on a donkey. It's not exactly a Lexus going down to do David's survey there, but and Joseph is, I'm sure he's tired and cranky as well. And this is a song called the Cherry Tree Carol, and it really does show them kind of as a human family with their foibles and whatnot. But Joseph gets a little testy in this one. I'll tell you the story and then you can listen along. So essentially, Mary's on the donkey. They're riding along. It's probably around lunchtime. She's a bit peckish. And they come past this orchard of cherry trees. And she's like, "Oh, Joseph, I'd love a cherry. Would you grab me a cherry off the tree?" And Joseph is a bit cranky, and he says, "Well, why don't you let the father of your child pick you a cherry?" And so, like I said, it's an actual family story here. And then so then all of a sudden Jesus speaks up from the tomb and he tells the trees to bend down and give his mother a cherry. And then she goes, "See, I have cherries." So at her command. So and that's basically the story. It's just
one correction. Jesus speaks from the womb, not the tomb.
The tomb comes later.
Sorry. The tomb comes later. That's right. Yeah, the womb first. That's right. Yeah. I got ahead in the story there.
You're in April.
So then this angel comes along and says, he's Jesus, he's the king, and so forth. So it's a pretty funny song. I still get a chuckle every time I listen to this thing because I love the fact that Joseph gets cranky with her. So anyway, I don't know. Maybe you don't find it funny, but I do. So it's just a small glimpse inside my head. So here we go. The Cherry Tree Carol. When Joseph was an old man was he. He married Virgin Mary, the Queen of Galilee. He married Virgin Mary, the Queen of Galilee. One day as they went walking, an orchard looked green. There were berries and cherries, as thick as may be seen. There were berries there and cherries, as thick as may be seen. Then Mary said to Joseph, so meek and so mild, "Joseph, gather me some cherries, for I am with child. Joseph, gather me some cherries, for I am with child." Here's my favorite part. Then Joseph flew in anger flew he. "Let the father of the baby gather cherries for thee. Let the father of the baby gather cherries for thee." Up spoke baby Jesus from out of Mary's womb. "Bend down, you tallest branches, that my mother might have some. Bend down, you tallest branches, that my mother might have some." Then bent down the tallest tree to touch Mary's hand. She cried, "Look now, Joseph, I have berries at command. Oh, look now, Joseph, I have berries at command." Walking, and an angel did sing, and Mary's child at midnight was born to be the king. And Mary's child at midnight was born to be the king. When Joseph was an old man was he. He married Virgin Mary, the Queen of Galilee. He married Virgin Mary, the Queen of Galilee. Ho! There you go, the most human carol of them all. I just love the Joseph, and I love the pettiness of Mary at the end there. So, see, I got my cherries anyway, so. It's a funny little tune. Funny little tune. So now we're going to talk about the day after Christmas. Oh, that's right. Oh, we're going to do a set of tunes first. That's right. Sorry. My bad. I got a stall here so Tommy can put his fingers on. This is, we're going to go down to Galicia here, which is in northwestern Spain, which is the Celtic region of that country. And in fact, they think that that's one of the areas that what became the Irish Celts. They migrated from that area. That's one of the original Celtic lands. And then if you go back even further, the Celts come from northern India, and there's all kinds of interweavings of the ancient cultures there. In fact, the words for mother and father in Tamil and in Hindi are virtually identical to the words for mother and father in Irish as well. So there's all kinds of links here, the Celtic mythology as it travels through. But this is another one of those songs that kind of takes a whole bunch of stuff. So on St. Stephen's Day, which is the day after Christmas, it's a visiting day. It's a big day to go. So Christmas Day, you stay with your home with your family, and there's all kinds of, cook a Christmas meal and whatnot. But on Stephen's Day, it's a day to go and visit your friends and whatnot. So you go knocking on the door, and you come in, and there's a tradition of the wren boys. And the poor wren, a gorgeous little bird, he gets blamed for everything. And there's all kinds of reasons why the wren is associated with St. Stephen's Day, and this. There's some say that it was a wren in a bush that betrayed St. Stephen to the Romans. St. Stephen was hiding from the Romans inside a bush, and the wren started chirping. And the Romans came along and found him, and they said, we know, we want you. And they took him and crucified him. So there's that. And there's also, there's all kinds of mythology around the wren, or drolling, as it's called in Irish. And so it became associated, again, this is one of those Celtic myths and traditions that got taken over by the monks and made more Christian, and so that the people could assimilate what they were trying to preach to them. One of the other traditions is the wren boys who come along. So they come along, and they're either dressed as women or they're dressed as straw men. So they'll get in these crazy outfits with straw hats and straw coats, and they'll carry a dead wren in a box, and they'll go from door to door. They'll have gone out and found a wren and killed him and put him in the box, first off. But they'll carry the wren in the box, and they'll go from door to door, and they'll knock on the door. And of course, the tradition is for them in order for them to get a penny from you to put in the box to help pay for burying the wren, if they sing you a song or they tell you a story. That was a tradition. In fact, there was one Christmas. You were a tiny little baby at this point, but there was, all of us were sick. We were down sick with the flu on the day after Christmas. It was a lovely Christmas. It was a fantastic Christmas. Yeah. It was like an abattoir in the house that Christmas. But it was, and there we were, sick as the dogs. And at the door came our cousins, the Powers, from down the street, and they were all dressed up as women, and they sang songs. And it didn't matter whether we were sick or not. They came into the kitchen and they sang their songs and they did their dances and they played the tunes. And it's a great tradition. It still goes on. So this is a song called "The Wren, the King of All Birds." It goes like, the wren, the king of all birds, St. Stephen's Day was caught in the furs. The furs is a bush.
After the Galician said.
Oh, that's right. Where the hell did I go? I'm getting babbled. Why did you let me go on?
I don't know. I learned a long time ago to just let you go.
Well, after we do this set of tunes, we're going to do the wren stuff. So. No idea how I did a left turn, but there will be no introduction to the next song after this one. So. You all know what we're doing next. The king of all birds, St. Stephen's Day was cutting the furs. Although he was little, his honour was great. Jump up, me lads, and give us a trade. As I was going to kill an null, I met a wren upon the wall. I up with the model and knocked him down, brought him into Carricktown. Oh, Jullin, where's your nest? It's in the bush that I love best. It's in the tree, the holly tree, where all the boys will follow me. Up with the kettle and down with the pan, and give us a penny to bury the wren. The wren 3 miles or more, 3 miles or more, 3 miles or more. We followed the wren 3 miles or more at 6 o'clock in the morning. I have a little box under me arm, under me arm, under me arm. I have a little box under me arm, a penny or tuppence will do it no harm. Oh, Mrs. O'Grady's a very fine woman, a very fine woman, very fine woman. Mrs. O'Grady's a very fine woman, she gave us a penny to bury the wren. The wren, the king of all birds, St. Stephen's Day was cutting the furs. Although he was little, his honour was great. Jump up, me lads, and give us a trade. And up with the kettle and down with the pan, and give us a penny to bury the wren. We're gonna do 2 tunes, I think, and two tunes and 1 song here. So the first tune we're gonna do is actually comes from Scotland in the 17th century, and it's actually part of a tune that's associated with Robert Burns, who's the national poet and songwriter of Scotland, and it has 2 names. We're calling it The Soldier's Return, but it was also called The Distressed Soldier. But The Soldier's Return sounds nicer for a Christmas concert. So we're calling it The Soldier's Return tonight. And then we're going to follow that with one that you can all sing along to. If you don't know this one, you have no business being in a church right now in front of Christmas. It's Angels We Have Heard on High. So we'll all sing that one together. And then we're going to finish that off with a great tune called The Silver Spear. So an Irish reel. And they actually, I think that's all we have to say on that one, right? No other notes or comments? About wraps it up. All right, so here we go. We'll start with... Yes. Does any of you have questions or comments? Or, we'll save those for later. So we'll start off with Tommy on the piano there, and The Soldier's Return.
joyous strength, oh Gloria in excelsis Deo, Gloria in excelsis Deo. Oh shepherds, why this jubilee? Why your joyous strains prolong? What the gladsome tidings be, which inspire your heavenly song? Oh, Gloria in excelsis Deo, oh, Gloria in excelsis Deo. Oh, see him in the manger laid, whom the choirs of angels praise. Mary, Joseph, lend your aid, while our hearts in love we raise. Oh, Gloria in excelsis Deo, oh, Gloria in excelsis Deo. All right, so clap along. Thanks very much. Yeah, Irish music is not a spectator sport, so it requires a lot of that and that. So usually a lot of this, but you know, given the setting, we'll do that later next door at Harlan Hall. We'll ask Fiona to sing us a song now for a change of pace, make her earn her money. For those of you who don't know, this is my little sister. So she's put up with me for I don't know how many years.
48.
I could tell. Oh, you said she blew it. So we sang a song at the beginning, kind of all about the winter coming on and whatnot. This is a saying. You know, growing up when we would visit Ireland in the wintertime, it was my mother's birthday was the winter solstice, 21st of December, and it's the shortest day of the year, and it's really short in Ireland. The sun is down before you wake up. It's like, oh, it's sunrise. Wait a minute, it's sunset. So yeah, it's a very short day. But the winter, it's amazing how even day by day, once you get past the 21st of December, the days incrementally get longer every day. So even though it feels like winter is so long, the days, and my grandfather used to say that it takes a cock step forward. So basically, the distance that a cock could step, the shadow takes one day forward every day, moving towards spring. So once you get past the 21st of December, you're kind of on the downhill slide to spring. And this song kind of talks about that. The refrain says, "The back of the winter is broken, and light lingers longer by the door. The seeds of summer have spoken in gowans that bloom by the shore." So there's it talks about the promise of spring in the midst of the winter. And so we'll have Fiona sing a song called "Follow the Heron Home." As soon as I tune my guitar. You're all so quiet and orderly. We're not used to this. There's usually a bouncer involved at our gigs. Joe, you want to step in for the bouncer? Close enough.
Back of the winter is broken, and light lingers on by the door. The seeds of the summer have spoken in gowans that bloom on the shore.
By night and day we'll sport and we'll play and delight as the dawn dances over the bay. Sleep blows the breath of the morning away, and we follow the heron
This we cradled our sorrow and stoked all our fires with fear. These bones that lie empty and hollow are ready for gladness and cheer. By night and day we'll sport and we'll play and delight as the dawn dances over the bay. Sleep blows the breath of the morning away, and we follow the heron. And snow-scented sound of your home, while the north wind delivers its sermon of ice and cold water and stone. By night and day we'll sport and we'll play and delight as the dawn dances over the bay. Sleep blows the breath of the morning away, and we follow the heron. By night and day we'll sport and we'll play as the dawn dances over the bay. Sleep blows the breath of the morning away, and we follow the heron. Thank you.
Very good. So we're going to sing a very depressing Christmas song now. Because you cannot have a night of Irish music without one depressing song. It's an unwritten rule of Irish music. But actually this is actually, while it is a serious song and a sad song, there's a beautiful story behind it. So this is apparently a true story, first off. And it takes place in World War I. And one Christmas Eve, towards the beginning of the war, in one of those areas of no man's land where there was just kind of one trench and then maybe 200 or 300 yards of shelled out, bombed out ground and mud, and then another trench. And on one side was the English and the Scottish, and the other side was the Germans. And of course there was a whole bunch of Irish lads there as well, most of them not of their own accord, but we were there in the English and the Scottish trenches. But this is a song that talks about one Christmas Eve where unbeknownst to all of the leadership of the British Army in London and Belgium and so forth. They came up with their own Christmas truce on that night, and the boys from both sides got together and they had a bit of secret brandy and they sang some songs and they played a soccer game under the light of the flares. And it is a true story, and there's a beautiful movie that was written about it a few years back, and we had the great luck at one of the premieres of the movie to come and to sing this song in front of the screen while the movie was playing behind us. And it's a beautiful song called Christmas in the Trenches. So here we go. Hope I get the beginning right, or Alison is going to be very mad at me. I don't play notes very well on the guitar, so they're putting a lot of faith in me right now. My name is Francis Tolliver. I come from Liverpool. 2 years ago, the war was waging for me after school. To Belgium and to Flanders, and from Germany to here. I fought for king and country I loved to hear. 'Twas Christmas in the trenches where the frost so bitter hung, and the frozen fields of France were still, no Christmas songs were sung. Our families back in England, they were toasting us that day, their brave and glorious sons so far away. I was lying with my messmates on the cold and rocky ground, when across the lines of battle came a most peculiar sound. Listen up, me lads, says I, each soldier strained to hear, as one young German voice sang out so clear. Singing bloody well, you know, my comrades said to me. Soon one by one each German voice was raised in harmony. The cannons rested silent and the gas clouds rolled no more, as Christmas brought us respite from the war. As soon as they were finished and the reverent pause was spent, God rest ye merry gentlemen, struck up some lads from Kent. Then the next they sang, 'twas Stille Nacht, that silent night, says I. In two tongues one song filled up that sky. There's someone coming towards us, the front line sentries cried. All sights were fixed on one lone figure trudging from their side. His truce flag like the Christmas star shone on that flame so bright, as he bravely strode unarmed into the night. Soon one by one from either side walked into no man's land. With neither guns nor bayonets, we met there hand to hand. We shared some secret brandy, and we wished each other well. And in a flared soccer game, we gave them hell. We traded chocolates, cigarettes, and photographs from home. These sons and fathers far away from families on their own. Young Saunders played the squeeze box, and they had a violin. This curious and unlikely band of men. Stole upon us, and France was France once more. With sad farewells we each began to settle back to war. The question haunting every heart that lived that fateful night whose family have I fixed within my sights. 'Twas Christmas in the trenches, the frost so bitter hard, but the frozen fields of France were warmed as songs of peace were sung. For the walls they built between us stood exact the work of war, and it crumbled and were gone forevermore. My name is Francis Tolliver, in Liverpool dwell. Each Christmas come since World War I, I've learned its lessons well. That the ones who call the shots won't be among the dead and lame, and on each end of the rifle we're the same. Thanks very much.
Different. Yeah, flish flop.
Flip flop. Here we go. We'll do a set of jigs for you to relighten the mood in the room. Chris and Alison are going to start this one off on Fish Fluck.
He hasn't forgotten how to speak.
He has to blow up the octopus on his lap. Thanks very much. Thank you very, very much. We take a minute here before we kind of go into our last song. We first have to thank very much Pastor Joe and for the session here, for inviting us back. We're pleased to be here, and for Erica for manning the booth back there and the live stream. Hello, everyone at home. Hello, everyone in Ireland. Everyone watching all over. Remember that there's an opportunity for you at home to donate as well, as we are raising money here for the music programs here at Westminster Church. So thank you very much for everyone who came today and took some time out of your valuable holiday time to spend some time with the six of us silly buggers. We hope you enjoyed yourselves, and we hope you've had a bit of Christmas spirit walking out here. We're going to finish off with a song here called Merry Christmas to All and Good Night. It's a bit of a cowboy kind of feel to it. And then we're going to go into, we're going to play a little tune called the Dublin Airport Waltz in the middle of midst of that, and then we're going to finish off.
Written on a layover.
Yeah, apparently it was written. Yeah, he got stuck in the airport in Dublin, and they got the author was inspired. I don't know how you could be inspired to write music in an airport when your flight is delayed, but there you go.
Especially Dublin Airport.
To each their own. To each their own. I'm assuming there were pints of Guinness involved, but that's just an assumption on my part. No first-hand knowledge. And the song, though, the Merry Christmas is from a great Irish singer and guitarist by the name of John Doyle, who has played with various different groups. One group called Solace. And he lives down in North Carolina, and he's very, very active in the Americana music scene as well as still the Irish scene. So this is kind of a blend between the two. It has a bit of an old Western kind of cowboy song feel to it. But it's a lovely tune, and then we'll finish off with a couple of other things at the end. They'll be self-explanatory, I think.
Merry Christmas to all and good night. The moon is rising and we watch the sight. One more song before leaving, no more sorrow or grieving. We can put all these past wrongs to right. Merry Christmas to all and good night. Peace to you all and sleep tight. Slumbering children will wake at first light, with bright smiles a-glowing and joy freely flowing. Hopes must be met with delight. Merry Christmas to all and good night. Winter comes in all its might. The wild geese have all taken flight. The blackbird will waken in his last drink we've taken. So close the door and turn down the lights. Merry Christmas to all and good night. Rising as we watch the sight. One more song before leaving, no more sorrow or grieving. We can put all these past wrongs to right. Merry Christmas to all and good night. Merry Christmas to all and good night. Here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane. Big cinnamon sitting all his reindeer pulling out the reins. Bells are ringing, children singing, all is merry and bright. Hang your stockings and say your prayers, 'cause Santa Claus comes tonight. Well, here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane. He's got a bag that's filled with toys for the boys and girls again. Hear those sleigh bells jingle jangle, what a beautiful sight. Jump into bed and cover up your head, 'cause Santa Claus comes tonight. Ho! Well, here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane. He doesn't care if you're rich or poor, he loves you just the same. Santa Claus knows we're all God's children, that makes everything right. So fill your hearts with Christmas cheer, 'cause Santa Claus comes tonight. Well, here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane. He'll come around when the chimes ring out and it's Christmas morn again. Peace on earth will come to all if we just follow the line. Let's give thanks to the Lord above, 'cause Santa Claus comes tonight. Ho! Well, here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane. Big cinnamon sitting all his reindeer pulling on the reins. Bells are ringing, children singing, all is merry and bright. So hang your stocking and say your prayers, 'cause Santa Claus comes tonight. Oh, bells are ringing, children singing, all is merry and bright. So hang your stocking and say your prayers, 'cause Santa Claus comes tonight. Merry Christmas, everyone. God bless, and we'll see you down the road again. Do come next door if you're here for a little hospitality on the way out. Oh, and one last thing. If you need Christmas presents for people you don't like, we do have CDs for sale. All right, so.
So beautifully together. We completely shrunk the building, made us feel community, brought the Holy Christmas closer. Thank you so much, you guys. Fantastic. As we have tea and cookies and coffee next door, I invite you to come over and have a good time together. Thank you all for being here and supporting our ministry. Thank you.
Yeah, I was getting a little delay.
There was a delay there.
Yeah, there definitely was. And in fact, I always get that on the tunes when you picked up and got on bloopers, and I go, okay, now I can hear the tunes.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a, yeah,
I wasn't gonna say anything about
yeah.
So the cable didn't work, and we found out about 10 minutes in.
Oh, what's that?
So about 10 minutes in, I noticed that it wasn't working.
Which one?
The cable,
Which cable?
the XLR recorder.
Oh, that one. Oh, I thought you meant the instrument.
No,
I'm thinking,
no,
oh,
you were fine.
oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because I was like listening to it, I'm like, something is not right.
Yeah,
Like, I'm just getting those microphones.
it probably needed an
She's kind
unbalanced
of
cable.
looking at me like, it sounds really weird. I'm like,
Yeah.
something's wrong.
Yeah. No, I said, no, I didn't. I didn't have an unbalanced cable that would convert to XLR. I had quarter inch to quarter inch.
So I went back to the mix and just mixed it for the second delay.
All right.
I was hearing it off the stream. So like, move it. Oh, okay. Wait. Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, it's in both.
We should probably put a pair of monitors out there because it's just this weird little delay in between going up. Yeah. Just a millisecond, but it was there. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can hear you fine, Allison, but I always felt like I was just trying to catch up just a tiny bit, you know? So,
Oh, I can hear you fine.
yeah. I can hear everybody. Thank you for coming out.